For nearly 3 decades, Dr. White has focused on substance abuse prevention, responsible fatherhood, and evidence-based risk prevention programs and organizations. He worked with Dakota and Lakota tribes throughout Indian country to develop a culturally specific, family-oriented alcohol, drug, and suicide prevention program. Dr. White's primary focus for the past decade plus has been to reduce relapse recidivism by providing service to individuals returning from incarceration with substance use disorders through the Mentor Works and Family Life Center programs. He is also passionate about training family life coaches. He earned his PhD from Texas Tech University, co-founded the Dakota Fatherhood Initiative, co-authored the book Why Fathers Count, and has authored many professional publications. He has worked with Just Serve in several capacities for 6 years. He and Alice, his wife of 33 years, are the parents of 8 children and 5 grandchildren. Thank you, Dr. White, for being here. Our other guest panelist is Judy Hutt. Judy is the Community Engagement Program Manager with the Utah Commission of Service and Volunteerism, You Serve Utah. And also thank you for being our guest panelist here tonight. For our attendees, if you could please put in the chat if you have more than one person attending with you. And also, if you have any questions for our panelists, you can just put them in the chat, and at the end of their presentations, we will address your questions. Okay. And Dr. White, if you would like to start.
First, you need to record.
I did record, didn't I?
Oh, you did. Good, never mind.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be a part of this. I'm really excited. It was wonderful to get to know, to talk the other day with Salt Lake County and get a feel for this awesome new program that they've developed called Let's Be Neighbors. And I don't know how much Heather's played into the notion of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, but I love this notion and the idea that they have with the vision of, trying to promote our neighborhoods and being neighborly and trying to help just get to know each other. So anyways, with that, we have there's a lot of, in the past, if you think about service, my role is to talk a bit about service. In the past, you think about service and service organizations, you have Rotary, Kiwanis, Lions Club. I used to be a member of the Optimist Club when I was at South Dakota State, and Optimist Serve Youth. But today we have this amazing new app called Just Serve, and it's a lot easier to jump on and find something to do without requiring long-term commitments, weekly service meetings, dues, and whatever. So it's a really beautiful opportunity to serve. So Heather asked if I'd talk a little bit about some of the health benefits of service right off the bat. So I want to just highlight that for you. So let me pull this screen up here and just real quickly go over this and share that. So here we go. So these are some of the scientific findings that have shown the benefits of service. So first of all, you can actually live longer if you're involved in service. Pretty incentivizing reason to serve. But most people don't serve for their benefits here, but this is what happens. Altruism is contagious. It makes us happy. It can help with chronic pain, which is really fascinating to think about. Lower blood pressure, can help promote positive behaviors in teams, and I'm going to share something with you on that in just a second. And it can help others give a sense of purpose and satisfaction. So there's a lot of beautiful things to that. I think that I shared the link with Leonidas, and so I think that hopefully that will be shared with you. And then, in fact, actually, I'll just plug it into the chat here in case you would like that to read that later on your own. So, and then like I mentioned too, there's some great research that shows the impact of service on teens. So let me pull that up, share that with you as well. So in general, we found that Dr. Laura P.D. Walker at BYU has done some research on service, and especially for teens that serve strangers. So not doing the dishes at the house or making their beds, serving strangers. And they found that youth who are involved in this kind of service have higher levels of hope, gratitude, and self-esteem, and they have lower levels of aggression and delinquency. So again, that's really powerful stuff. This handout I've shared with Heather and with Leonardo, so hopefully they can share that with you in this presentation later if you'd like to go back and read the details of this wonderful study. So, all right, so that's service and the impact of service. It can have a lot of benefits in a variety of ways. So, okay, so anyways, like I said, we have this wonderful new app. It's called Just Serve, and I want to pull that up next and share some really cool highlights from there. So let me go share. So first I'm going to just take you to a screen. Like if you just typed in justserve.org, this is what you're going to find. It's incredible. So you have right off the bat, you can search for projects right away. You could go to the projects tab and just find projects within, if you want to just say search for a certain type of thing, or you can say, I want to find projects within 5 miles of me, and then type in your zip code, search. So then you can see some things that are close by that'll come up. Okay. Bathroom kits for refugees, Harvest Hills, gardens, cut flower pot. So there's a variety of things here that you can do. So this is the basic layout of the Just Serve app. And we'll come back to this a little bit later. Organizations, one of the newer things that they've added now is this disaster recovery, which is fantastic. There's been other countries that have had natural disasters and they've wanted to try to purchase this app, but it's just made available to everyone. So this is going to be, I'm really excited to see the power of this going forward in the future. So, all right, one of the things I want to do is go to this About Us page. This is going to be very helpful as you think about Just Serve and any desires you have to participate in service. So it says justserve.org is a website where the volunteer needs of organizations are posted and volunteers search for opportunities to enhance the quality of life in the community. Just Serve is a free service that links community volunteer needs with volunteers and does not discriminate based on race, religion, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation in posting projects or encouraging volunteers to serve according to our guidelines. So there's a couple of really nice little videos here. I wanted to share this first one with you. So I want to make sure that I have optimized screen. So I've got this shared with another screen. So let me go ahead and share it again, but this other one. Okay. Optimized for motion video. Okay. So what this one taps into the value of communities adopting Just Serve.
Open.
One of the things that we have a lot of questions from the community, from faith-based organizations, is how do we give back to the community? How can we get involved? The Just Serve program has basically allowed us to give volunteers a direction.
It allows you to go in, find something that fits your personality, your family.
If I could sit down with another council member in another city that was either looking at this or had talked about it, I think what I would say to them and what I have said to them is that this is one of those types of programs that will, again, help your city to be a success.
I just love volunteering here because it kind of takes me out of myself and puts me into the community, and it just makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of videos and stuff that talks about it. Okay, so let's go back to this About Us page. I wanted to share a couple of other things here. So basically, a nice little quick overview of how it works. Find a project, invite friends, help out, connect with your community, and you can sign up. And you can sign up. All you need is an email address and then get you going. Here's some of the advisory council members. It's really cool. You see somebody from the American Red Cross, News Group, from Church of Jesus Christ, from Salvation Army, from the Dublin Group, Med Global, Catholic Relief Services. So they're very well, Rotary International. So they're very well represented across different things. Some wonderful little insights here about why volunteering and community guidelines. And I wanted to go ahead and read this with you because this is really beautiful. We may not solve world hunger immediately, but we're convinced that by serving with each other in our local communities, we're paving the way for a much broader changes. Our individual efforts don't need to be huge. A little bit of change here, a few hours there, but even small efforts quickly add up to make a real difference. As we work side by side and learn from each other, mutual understanding increases and misconceptions can be corrected and new friendships are built. So some community guidelines, the best service opportunities are collaborative, working side by side with others in faith-based, nonprofit, community, and government organizations. Community service opportunities should enhance the quality of life in the community and assist the poor and those in need. Just Serve projects should not have a political or other advocacy focus. And this is something I like about it because you can be assured when the projects are posted that they've been vetted for this. It should not be for advocacy or for-profit oriented or directly involve volunteers in soliciting or handling money or other prohibited activities. So then here's the next beautiful step: to contact your local specialist. All you have to do is put your name and contact information in here, and you can reach out to somebody who is in your area that can help you. And the great thing about this is if you have an idea of a project that you want to do, create, I'm going to mention a few of those in just a second, then this is where you do it. Go in right here, and then somebody who is over your area, Just Serve specialist, should be able to reach out to you and help you with that process. All right, so that's the mission, how it works, advisory council, a little bit of contact. Wanted to just share a couple of thoughts, some potential neighborhood connection building projects that I've seen over the years, some beautiful experiences. So, and some things that have happened. So we'll share a few success stories as well. So some things you could do, like one thing that we've done recently, I live close to the Jordan River Canal, and so we have had several Jordan River cleanup projects that have gone on and helped to do some weed abatement and just some other things. Lots of fun projects along there. There's a local school project right now with the Jordan School District, track days and helping out on the track meets. And I think there's some with the special needs as well. This church down near me, Holy Trinity Lutheran Church, we helped them post a property cleanup a while back. Another thought that I'd love to see happen is to create these neighborhood beautification committees. I think it'd be really fun to see neighborhoods get together, connect with each other, and find some folks that wanted to be involved in this and do these neighborhood beautification committees, just NBCs. But there's a lot of things like South Jordan has gone around. They've approved these projects where they've gone around and painted the big utility boxes around the city, and you'll see some beautiful little murals on those. So that'd be fun kind of a project to do. So many, the opportunities and the ideas are endless, and you can connect with your local cities as well and see what kinds of things they'd be able and are interested in helping to do. Some powerful Just Serve impacts that have happened recently in the last few years is the food drive, the Utah Food Bank, the big food drives that have happened for years now. Just Serve has been very involved in that, helping to organize and support that. We've also collaborated with the National 9/11 Day of Service and the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. So there's some great service opportunities there that you can get involved in. There will be a lot of, we're working with a lot of folks to collaborate with this next one coming up, and a big Youth Day of Service. So some wonderful things to look forward to. Also, I mentioned earlier the natural disaster link that's on the website now. So if there ever is a natural disaster in your area, you can go to the Just Serve site, and if nothing's there, you can post something and say, hey, let's get some help. We need some help with this. Maybe, I know there's some concern with flooding going on right now. And I saw a project recently where a bunch of folks were doing some sandbagging. So certainly something that can happen. So I wanted to go back one more time to the Just Serve website and share with you some of the success stories that we're seeing come up here. And when you get involved in Just Serve, we would love to hear about your experiences as well. So please don't hesitate to let us know. So let me get over to this and just highlight a few of these that have happened recently. So, okay. All right, so here's something that happened in Murray just, well, it looks like it just happened today. Huh. Rotarians 75 Just Serve volunteers plant trees in Murray Park. Oh no, it happened on April 15th, so Saturday. What a cool experience that would be to go plant a bunch of trees. Here's some other recent success stories in El Paso, Texas, Sacred Heart Catholic Church, making blankets in El Paso. Here's something from Coeur d'Alene, a retail thrift store, Easter Fun, helping women and children. Easter Fun. Here's something else, Murray Rotarians. Oh yeah, the Murray Greenhouse Foundation. So lots of fun things, and this just goes on forever. And you can go in and see these great experiences that people have. Here's something from Gilbert, Arizona, Rogers, Medford, Oregon. So yeah, Just Serve is, by the way, is global. It's all over the world. So has a great outreach, great capacity to get out there and connect with people and make a difference. So obviously I'm very pro Just Serve. I think it's an amazing site that has been put together and is available for the community, for anyone of any faith. There's no discrimination whatsoever. The only thing is there's a few things that are required. You know, we ask that it's, you know, either nonprofit or community or city organizations or city entities, and that it's not for a not-for-profit organization. So anyways, that's basically it. I mentioned earlier, I wanted to share, I kind of went over this quickly, but if you are involved with an organization that would like to post a project, or if you have a project idea of your own, certainly you can reach out and ask for help, and we'd be glad to help you look at getting that set up and post it on Just Serve so that you can request the number of volunteers you wanted and so forth. I have a couple of minutes. I think maybe it would be a good idea just to go show one of the projects, and let's just randomly pick one and see, just so you kind of get an idea what that looks like. So here's the projects tab. And so let's say we want to find something within 10 miles of where we're, okay? So we go down here and we see, okay, here's this Murray Community Sandbagging event along the Little Cottonwoods. So this is on April 29th is when it's scheduled from 8 to 1. So let's look at it. You go into the site and you go into the link, and here's this, you can see some sandbagging pictures here, but so they have a basic description of what to do, volunteer responsibilities, bring some gloves, shovels, water, and here's the details. When it is 8 to 1, it tells you the location, where it's at, and then kind of some basic instructions about what's going to happen. Bag fillers, recommended ages 12 and older, so they give you an idea of the age group as well. So this would be great for families, maybe not with younger kids, but with kids that are, you know, early teens, whatever. Okay. Then you have people that are filling the bags, people that are placing the bags. Tells you again what to bring. Important note, it's sort of a risk thing. And then the contact information, who to talk to, Drew Kill. Then it also gives a little list of things that these are for volunteers who may be interested in serving in the community, disaster relief, or emergency and safety. So that's just an example of one random project I just picked up. Let's go and pick one more, and then we'll call it good. So let's say I'm curious, I'm very interested in what's going on in Ukraine and Turkey and Syria and with some of the refugees. So here's this beautiful project here. So it says, ongoing is going on in Utah and Idaho. Little description, make and donate clothing kits to Turkey, Syria, and Ukraine. 60 drop-off locations. They've got an email address of who to contact, some project details, and then some things they give you an idea of how to set up each of the kits, a pair of socks, underwear, t-shirt, some answers for some of the things they think would be regular questions, point of contact. And then there's some attachments you can actually set up as well. And then again, here's the volunteer interests for people. So that's how the website is set up and how easy it is to go back and find a project that would fit you and your family. So I hope that you can find the joy in serving, and especially with connecting to your neighbors. That's one of the great values I believe in the whole vision behind Just Serve and the purpose behind why it's been set up this way. So with that, I would like to go ahead and wrap it up and see if there's any questions. If you want to wait till later, I'd be happy to answer any questions now, though. However you want to do this, Leonidas, let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. White. That was very informative and there were so many resources. And I just want to say I agree. Serving it connects you. It also builds and sustains a community, and that is so important. So thank you very much. And up next, we have Judy Hutt from You Serve Utah. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you, and thanks for having me. Just a little bit of an intro about myself. I work for You Serve Utah, not just serve. People often get us confused. You Serve Utah is the state's Commission on Service and Volunteerism that is under Lieutenant Deidre Henderson. And every state has a commission of service and volunteerism. And my background is actually nonprofit. I worked in the nonprofit industry for about 15 years. And I started out as a volunteer coordinator and I ended up as an executive director. And I often say that I am a recovering fundraiser. So I'm happy to be in this new position where I get to help build capacity in volunteerism. So I'm just going to share with you a presentation that I have, and hopefully you can all see that. Let's just double check. Okay, can you guys see my presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. I'm always worried. Again, I'm from You Serve Utah. Just a little bit about us. We are the state's central coordinating body for service and volunteerism. So we manage the AmeriCorps, if you're familiar with that, the national service portfolio. We do the national and local emergency services. And we also work with organizations and volunteers themselves. So our job is to strengthen Utah community through national service, volunteerism, and broader community engagement. We typically, sorry about that. We typically function as a consultant and a training resource to expand organizational capacity. So if you're with an organization, you may have heard of us and we may have worked with you, but we also try to encourage volunteerism through individuals as well. So again, what we do is we build and cultivate capacity. We also work to promote and inspire volunteerism, and we recognize the outstanding impacts made through service through Lieutenant Governor certificates. So what I am here to talk to you about today is we do so many different things. And one of the things that we do that I am most excited about that reaches the general public is the community engagement pathways. The community engagement pathways, maybe you might be familiar with this. Often this is used in universities, in higher education, in community engaged learning or community service. But You Serve Utah is the only non-higher education organization that uses this in a more broad public way. And so we have created this survey that you can find on our website. That is the link. There's also a QR code, and it's userve.utah.gov/pathways. And the pathways are really a tool for the public to use or organizations to find out what the proclivity is for service. And how they would rather be engaged in the community. So as you know, Utah is #1 in formal volunteerism throughout all of the states. We are #7 in informal volunteerism, but that's just because I think that people don't report that as much. But Utah, what we heard is just really engaged in service and volunteerism and community engagement, and there's a lot of great benefits to that. So with this survey, it takes, it depends on the person, but it can take 5 to 10 minutes for this survey. And it's a lot like, I kind of joke that it's a lot like, who's my Disney princess? Or a Myers and Briggs test. It has questions tailored to community engagement to help people understand what their top pathway is or what they're most inclined to do. So when you take this survey, you receive the results, and the results show the top 6 types of community engagement that people most often do for service. So I'm going to dive into these just a little bit more, but you can see, we have tried to use very inclusive imagery and show, different ages and different abilities, because we truly believe that everyone can serve. So once you get your results, it will show a percentage. So, maybe you are really prone to one type of service, or maybe you're prone to a lot of services, but it'll show a percentage. So, if, maybe direct service is your top, it'll show that, and it shows those percentages as well. So just to kind of dive in quickly to the different types of pathways, direct service, we just heard about that a lot, and that is what people tend to think of, especially in Utah. We tend to think of service as being, directly getting out there into a cause. And that's a wonderful way to not only use people in your organization, but also you as a volunteer. So it really is to work to address the immediate needs of the individuals or a community, often involving contact with the people or the places being served. This is very common with youth or family volunteering, because as you know, we get these children in early and they become lifelong volunteers. So direct service is very common, and we're seeing it now, obviously, with emergency prep, going out and sandbagging, helping plant trees. Those are examples of direct service. The next pathway is a mouthful. It's social entrepreneurship and corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is kind of a new buzzword. It's not anything new, but it's starting to rise in popularity. And it usually has to do with using ethical business or private sector approaches to create or expand market-oriented responses to social or environmental problems. So you may hear that and you might be like, well, I don't work for a big organization. I don't work for a big business. This doesn't really apply to me. However, there's a lot of ways that you can partner with organizations, either through your org or as a volunteer. There's a lot of businesses that have a corporate giving policy where, they can donate to your organization, or they can do a service project or a food drive or a fundraiser for your organization. Maybe they'll bring a group of volunteers out to help you for a day of service. If you are on the other end of it, you can also be, you might have a proclivity to this and be maybe more corporate, socially responsibly minded. And things like buying your products, like at Tom's or Cotopaxi, organizations that we know use ethical business practices, but perhaps they engage people in fair trade, or they're giving money back on those purchases. Those are other ways that you can actually volunteer and improve your community. And it's those are the things that we don't always think about, but you're still making an impact in your neighborhood and in your community. The third one is community engaged learning and research. And again, I think the first assumption is, college, higher ed, I'm not in school anymore, so this doesn't apply to me. But we have a lot of people who are very research minded and they care about data. So it's really about connecting coursework and academic research to community identified concerns to enrich knowledge and inform action on social issues. I actually find that a lot of my teenagers that we survey are really interested in this. They're kind of interested in the data behind these causes. So examples of how an organization can utilize a volunteer in this area is to have them help with data and analysis, collecting surveys, preparing documents, doing academic research that might help promote the cause. And then if you as a volunteer are interested in organizations like this, and you have skills or abilities in this, you can also offer those services to an organization. Policy and governance. Again, another assumption is, well, I'm not going to run for office. So that is a waste of a pathway. I had my family take this survey, and my brother-in-law said that exact thing. But policy and governance means so much more. It's participating in political processes, policymaking, and public governance. Many organizations have boards. Serving on a board is an example of policy and governance. Serving on the PTA is an example of policy and governance. Going and getting involved in, city council meetings, and anything that would help, causes that you care about, or examples of how you can engage civically and in your community, and really help move the needle on social issues. Philanthropy. Again, I'm a recovering fundraiser. This is my top pathway. And even when I try to step away from it, I always find myself being brought back to it. Philanthropy is donating or using private funds or charitable contributions from individuals or institutions to contribute to the public good. You don't have to be a really rich old person with a ton of money to be a philanthropist. We see a lot of youth and teens who are doing these things in peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns, hosting in-kind drives, food drives, and these high schools that are doing these amazing projects. And that's a form of service and volunteerism, is to help with these kinds of causes and raising critical funds that are very necessary. So this is a way that if you have those abilities, can get involved for organizations and try to help and serve them. And if you're an organization yourself, be thinking about how you can really utilize volunteers in this area. Community organizing and activism is about involving, educating, and mobilizing individual or collective action to influence or persuade others. A very common pathway we see in our youth and in our college-age people. People who are very passionate about social causes and they want to volunteer and to help in those areas. Examples of volunteer opportunities, can be something as simple as a micro volunteer opportunity where you're sharing a campaign on social media. It could also be, something that's broader, like a rally, and all of these things, writing an op-ed piece in support of a cause or an organization. So again, so many different ways that you can give back to your community that aren't necessarily what you naturally would assume are possible. So once you get your survey results, there's also in that link that I shared, toolkits, and every pathway has a toolkit, and it's several pages that is just a PDF where you can explore more about how to get involved. It lists common attributes. It has ideas for areas of interest. So say you love dogs and you're like, oh, I have a philanthropy pathway. What could I do to help animals with maybe a fundraising lens? So this toolkit is a really great resource, but not just for you as a volunteer, but if you as an organization or a neighborhood, if you're going to utilize volunteers, it's great to really know these, because then you can be really thoughtful about your volunteer opportunities, how you recruit, and how you're looking for these targeted people. A lot of these opportunities are for skills-based volunteers, something that here in Utah we don't often utilize. There are people who have great technical skills, who have great marketing skills, and we don't always utilize them. And if they can, either get off work to come volunteer or donate their time, this is a great way to give back. So, one pathway isn't enough. It takes every pathway to really move the needle on a community or social concern. We will do this activity in our trainings where we will pick a community concern. One example was we did the Great Salt Lake. And that's a big concern. Maybe not so much, well, it's probably still a concern even after all the snow and rain. But we looked at news articles, and we had everybody break up into their different pathways and brainstorm ways that they could solve this issue utilizing their pathway. And it was interesting when everybody shared out how all of the things, if all of those activities came together, how they could really make a huge impact and likely solve that issue. It requires everything. And it requires people from different experiences and different backgrounds to really make change. Pathways change throughout your life. Again, a lot of people will start with the pathway of, really being encouraged to do direct service. But then as they grow, they're starting to learn other ways and other skills how they can really engage civically and in their community. And that's what we love about it. We love that there's something for everybody. And then you can go into a great organization like Just Serve and look up volunteer opportunities and see how you can connect in those areas. So finally, to how to utilize the pathways. Volunteers, again, branch out of direct service being your first thought if that's the only way that you can give back. You can explore different areas of engagement. This is really how you can build long-term relationships with organizations. Instead of like, oh, I'm going to help here, and then I'm going to run help here, and I'm going to run help here. That's great, but couldn't you find a great organization that you could really connect to and really help with their mission? Again, share your skills, your abilities, especially professional skills that are really important. And again, establishing long-term relationships, not only with the organization, but with other volunteers as well. And then if you're from an organization, and I say organization, but that could be anything, right? It could be church, it could be neighborhood, it could be anything. So whatever kind of community you have, again, it helps you broaden your volunteer base. Then you don't have just the same type of volunteer always coming. It can help you improve your recruitment and volunteer placement strategies if you're being more mindful of that, where you're like, you know what, we really have a need for someone to help with research. Let's recruit someone to do that. Again, you can target skills-based volunteers, build relationships with corporate and organizations, people that might be able to come and donate their time. And then it increases mission-driven support. So back to that long-term partnership piece, it's just really important that people connect to your cause and they want to really be a part of it, and it's not just a one-off volunteer opportunity. So thank you for your time. And I know we're going to have some questions as well. This is my contact information. Youth Serve Utah has a ton of resources. We actually also have grants for community engagement projects, day of service projects. It might be something of interest to you. So I hope you'll check out our website, but you can also reach out to me personally and individually, and I'd be happy to help you as well. All right, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Judy. That was a great presentation as well. Lots of resources and information. Yeah, I am just actually amazed about all the resources that we have. I mean, I'm a librarian and I'm still finding out new things and new resources and new community partners to, contact. So this is wonderful. And again, I agree, this is the best way to build and sustain community is by joining, one of these organizations and just helping out, because your time is the best gift you can give somebody. And it makes you feel good too. So yeah, does anybody have any questions for our guest panelists? If you do have questions, you can type them into the chat and we can read them.
So in the absence of questions, I know that silence is lovely, but I'll just make share a thought here.
Yeah.
Judy, thanks for that wonderful overview. Very good stuff. I love to see the different perspectives of service and how it breaks out. And I think it's important to recognize that what Judy's talking about is so important, to see that it's not just going out and filling sandbags or doing some grunt labor, whatever your skills, and that's something we found with Just Serve too, that's really powerful. If you have a penchant or a passion for doing some particular thing or serving in a certain way, maybe you would do well by serving on a board of directors or serving in some capacity, doing research or helping some little organization with marketing. Who knows what it is, but there's whatever your skills are. That's the thing that we try to encourage people to think about. What would be most interesting and what is a skill set that you bring to the table that can make a difference? And that can be very, very rewarding as well, because you'll be able to feel like and recognize that you have something to offer and to make a difference with as well. And it doesn't have to be something that you have skills. You can go out and do whatever, but it really is nice to find people that have different skill sets. And I know in our organization, we've had some folks reach out and have been able to do a little bit of legal support and help with accounting and other things. So there's just a number of ways that you can volunteer. And I really like the way you broke that up in those, was it 6 areas? Judy?
Yeah.
So really nice. Where did you come up? Where did you guys find that? Was that from some of the surveys and research that you've done already?
It's actually, you know, I should give credit where credit is due. Stanford actually created it. So in that sense, they created it, but it was much more academic. And so it was really academic focused. So our group, with their permission, was able to make it more public interfacing. So it was less about like, oh, what can you do in college? And it was more of, you know, the questions are a lot more driven to, you know, the general public. It's written at like an 8th grade level. So it can be something that we're trying to incorporate in schools. And I know we've actually worked with Just Serve. In fact, when we're done with the toolkit, when you finish the toolkit, it links to Just Serve. Because it's like, oh, now you know what you want to do. What should you, you know, where do you go find a volunteer opportunity? And it links to Just Serve. So we are partners in that sense. And so, you know, but we're hoping to continue to, you know, build that relationship, and also so that organizations it'll kind of be in the lexicon, right? So it's not just, you know, one thing is the only way to do it. And there's a lot of other ways. But to Dr. White's point, you know, the skills piece, you don't have to be super skilled at something, but I know from being a former nonprofit director, everything counts. And if somebody can come and do anything that has a skill, you know, I mean, I'm telling you, tech support, anytime anybody came and was willing to do tech support for me, it was just a miracle. So, you know, those are the things I hope people will kind of think about in different ways. I love a day of service. I love going and I love getting my hands dirty. And that's always meaningful, but sometimes it's those other skills things that really make a long-term impact.
Very nice. You know, our Just Serve tech team and the website folks are always looking for insights and suggestions. And I wonder if it would be helpful to have some way to suggest that the different service opportunities kind of fit within those 6 categories. They already have that, you know, this service project is good for volunteers interested in these kind of things. So it's kind of there, but not as much as it could be. So I think we might steal that idea from wherever you stole it from.
Yeah, no, we'd love it. I mean, we would love that, because I think, you know, again, like the governor pushes this out, and, you know, so if it's something that's more common, not just here in Utah, but everywhere else, it's great.
Cool.
That's
Can you
awesome.
pop that link in the, do you have a link to that?
Yeah, I just put it in the pathways. I mean, sorry, in the chat.
Okay, good. Is it that one that you serve at .gov Pathways?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice, thank you.
I love that. I love that you're already connecting together. And it's kind of like what we do at the library. We have presenters come in because we don't have all the skills. We don't all know all the knowledge, but we know how to find it. And then that's a great way to also serve your community too. Is to sign up to volunteer at the library or sign up as a presenter. I'm even on a coalition in Magna, so maybe look into your city or town and see if they have a coalition, because they're always looking for community members, and your voice matters. Your voice counts. Don't ever forget that. It's actually what drives everything. So,
I see Mabel's question. If it's okay, I'd love to take a stab at that.
yeah, please.
Mabel, that's a huge issue, right? Because you might have a skill, and if people aren't posting them on JustServe or other things, it's really hard for you to know about it. So one of the things that we're doing on our end is that since we work with a lot of organizations, we keep encouraging them, think outside of the box and post it, right? So like, don't just post your event, post these other opportunities and say, we're looking for an accountant, we're looking for a project manager, we're looking for someone with legal skills. So that it's slow going, because I think everyone's used to posting one type of opportunity, but we're trying to encourage them, like, again, different opportunities, virtual opportunities, micro, meaning like you can just do it in a short period of time. So in that sense, we're kind of trying to work on that end of it. But for you as a volunteer wanting to do that, I mean, this is kind of advice that is like, you're gonna be like, that's great advice. But it's always about trying to find the organizations and the places, and build the relationship and offering it. So sometimes you just have to, like, so say if you have like a little nonprofit that you love, you can be like, hey, have you ever thought, do you need this and this? And they may not need you at that moment, but I promise you, nonprofits talk and they share these things, and they'll be like, guess what? I know this cool accountant and she can help for a couple of hours a month. So it is a little bit of that networking piece, but we do hope that this is going to increase as we educate people that they need to post these kind of opportunities.
So Mabel, I think we have a post. If not, we should put it back up. But the Foundation for Family Life needs somebody with accounting experience. So we'd love to have some help if you're interested. So reach out. I put my email address on here. And also, Judy, I put that link. I found that one that worked. That other one didn't work. It went to
Oh, thanks. I just typed it in. I should have copied it.
It's okay. It's all good. So, well, thank you so much. This is awesome. What a great experience to connect with you, Judy, and this great organization. Again, I would love to hear more about how the whole Let's Be Neighbors thing started. I think it's such a great idea to reach out and connect with each other. And that's one of the things I love about JustServe, is it really does help us to get to know our neighbors better. Because we're doing things that are, it's not about whatever the political winds are going on and other problems in the world. So it's just beautiful.
I think it was actually my coworker. They started, I believe, last year, maybe the year before, as a way to connect with the community and connect more resources to the community. And they do a couple in the spring and a couple in the fall. So this, I think our next one is in August. So, but yeah, it's really great. And then the recordings go up on YouTube. We've had a lot of engagement on YouTube, people coming in afterwards and looking. So I think that's amazing. Clearly the library, we're all about connecting and building and making sure everybody has that information. So they can grow and just be the best person that they can be, So
That's awesome.
That's great.
yeah. So don't have any more questions. I would like to thank our guest panelists, Joseph White and Judy Hutt, for joining us. Thank you so much for your presentations. I learned so much, and I'm very grateful that you could make it. And to our attendees, thank you for your time. And I hopefully you leave with some amazing resources as well. And like I said, our next Let's Be Neighbors will be in August, so keep a lookout for that. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.
Thanks, Leonidas, and thanks, Heather. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.